This will be online this afternoon. Well, it won't be online till tonight because the internet's down. I'll wait till I get home. Okay, first question. Here we go. You should have a hard copy of this, so I'm not going to wait as long as usual for everybody to be able to write everything down. I handed it one out Friday, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Would you like one? Okay. So, when you get to the problem saying find a rational zero of the polynomial function, there are two ways you can do it. You can FOIL all four of the responses and see which one gives you that equation back. Or you can actually do what I taught you this year. Now, to find the first two, you could do one of two things. The quickest thing to do would be to get out your calculator. The quickest and, in my opinion, easiest thing to do to find out which of these answers to start looking at would be, well, just right off the top of your head, which one do you, I want to hear a theory here. Which of the four answers do you think it probably won't be? Why B? What's another one you could probably cross out? I mean, this is just speculation if you were to guess. Yeah, A. Still with a 3 in it. I'm guessing it's going to be C or D. But nonetheless, here I go. I'm going to put in my equation. X to the fourth plus 3x cubed minus 5x squared minus 9x minus 2. This is the easiest way to do it. Now, I'm doing this because I can trace and see what the two real roots are going to be and therefore narrow my search down. Now, as I look at these, all four sets of real roots are all different. So actually, once I do that, I'll be done. So, trace. I'm guessing it has a -1. It does, so I can cross off B. You were right. Let's see if it has a -2 or a +2. It's +2. So, which one's the answer? D. Yeah. But I'll tell you right now, the one you're going to have on Monday will probably have multiple answers with the same real roots. So let's say for a second that this one was also a +2. Because that's probably what's going to happen on Monday. You're going to have two answers with those possible roots. So you have to know how to take those out and get what the other two are. And here's how you do that. Once you know that -1 and 2 are real roots, you can take them out using synthetic division. -1, we'll take that one out first. 1, 3, -5, -9, -2. Drop, multiply, add, multiply. I'll stop after this step and take questions. I'm going to go ahead and just finish this step up. All right. Raise your hand if you have a question about A, why I did what I just did, B, how I did it, anything like that. Anything on the... Good question. Our goal for finding all four, because these aren't exactly rational, you can't just trace these. Actually, I guess you could. But anyway, our goal is that if we can factor out these two roots, then that'll take this down to a square. And once we have it down to a quadratic, you can use the quadratic equation. That's why we're doing it. Any questions about how this synthetic division just happened? All right. So that's our depressed polynomial. So what's the next thing I need to do? Take out the 2. Remember to take it out of your depressed polynomial, not the originals. Drop the 1, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add, voila. So, Nick Brazelton, what's my depressed polynomial? What's left when I divide? 141. That's right. And if I started with the fourth and have now taken two things out, I'll now be starting with the squared. So 1x squared plus 4x plus 1 is your depressed polynomial. Once you have it down to a quadratic, you can use the quadratic equation. -b plus or minus b squared minus 4 AC all over 2a. So that's negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 12, which is what, 2 radical 3? Well, I'll just write it like this first. Over 2. All right. Now, for you to be able, technically, yes, at this point, you could just punch that in the calculator. Negative 4 plus square root of 12 divided by 2, negative 4 minus square root of 12 divided by 2, and see which one that's equal to. But it's actually easier if you can algebraically reduce this. What perfect square is in a 12? 4. So I could break that down into radical 4, radical 3. What's the square root of 4? 2. So negative 4 plus or minus 2 radical 3 over 2. Notice everything is now divisible by 2, so I can divide everything by 2. And it gets me negative 2 plus or minus radical 3, and as you can see, that is D. If you are so fortunate on Monday to where the real answers are enough, then there's only one option, then by golly, just stop. But most likely you will not be, so you'll have to do those steps. Oh, all right, very good question. I'll write it right here. There you go. Seniors also, by the way, your last day to turn in work from this mini quarter that I've announced that you've been missing is Monday before your final. That's the last time I'll accept senior work, if you're missing anything. Any further questions on this problem? Do you get where we got, which, all right, did you get to this step? Okay, well, we traced these two in the beginning, right? And that was actually the only one with a negative 1, positive 2. Because most likely on Monday, you'll have like 2 answers with those same 2 numbers. So you needed to know, you're right, we could have stopped. But assuming that that won't be quite that easy, you need to know how to find the other 2. Yes. Sure, get your calculator out. Did you already put in your equation? Well, you can just watch this right now and do it on the next one. You put in your equation, okay, hit graph. Now you hit the trace button and you can put in any x value you want. So I was just testing these. So the first one we thought to check, because it was in 3 of them, was negative 1. And we want the y to equal 0, which it did. So negative 1 was a root. We could have crossed off b. Then we just traced different values. Other questions on this problem? All right, number 2. Number 2. Does anybody remember how we're going to attack this one? No? This is the very last thing we did. That's right. That's right. It was this equation. That's the equation for finding the, another question, well, actually it won't be. F of a plus h minus f of a all over h is the limit of h approaches 0? No. 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 This will give you, when you do all this, this will give you the equation for the slopes, which you will then plug in the 4 to, and the 36 is worthless. You do not need it. Sure. All right, first off, what is f of a? This was the easy one. Yeah, you just replace the x's with the a's. What is f of a plus h? Right. Now what do we have to do before we can just start plugging this in? FOIL. Plus a squared plus 2ah plus h squared plus 5a plus 5h. Remember, should you get an equation with a minus sign right here, that minus distributes throughout this multiplication. So if this had been a minus, that'd be minus 5a minus 5h. A big problem I saw when you guys were doing this with your homework was you would only make the first term negative and the second one would still be positive. Don't do that. All right, so there's no more way we can reduce that. There's no like term. So we're ready to plug everything into our equation. So f of a plus h minus f of a all over h. Now what should cancel if you did it correctly? Everything on the right. So a squared, 5a, 5a, and you should be left with terms all that have an h in them. Is that everything? All right. What factors out of? Very good. Kind of already gave that away. Therefore, what cancels? H. And you're left with the limit as h approaches 0 of 2a plus h plus 5. As h approaches 0, what's going to go away? The h. And you're left with 2a plus 5, which at this point you can turn into x. It becomes 2x plus 5. So what do we plug in for x? 4. And what's our answer? 13. The slope at x equals 4 of that particular equation is 13. Well, we took the limit. Yeah, exactly. Whenever you're taking a limit, which will be coming up in the very near future on this exact practice file, you can basically start just by plugging in the value. And if you get a number, or blah, 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 just plug it in. If you get a 0 in the denominator, you get problems, but that's not even relevant to this problem. So, question. Well, there's only 10. It'll be 20. But we're going to have another week and a half to prepare for it. So. Somebody answer this question that I already answered. You were here. I answered it 15 minutes ago. I'll tell you. Your final is going to be exactly like that. The order of the problems might be different and the numbers will be different, but even the directions will be the same. You know, like I said, number 2 might not be number 2, but somewhere on there will be a question with the exact directions that say find the slope of the tangent line to the graph of f at a given point. And this is what you'll need to do. Okay. Yes, sir. Right now? I have printer paper. I don't have notebook paper. Or you can have a few sheets. I know you write big. Okay, questions on this problem? Marching on. Number 3. Compose. Find the indicated composition. Bless you. Who can tell me what to do? Yes, ma'am. Plug F into G. Couldn't have said it better myself. 5 times. Remember, the second one goes into the first. So, x minus 4 over 5 plus 4. How does this reduce algebraically? 5's cancel. Times 5 divided by 5. You're left with x minus 4 plus 4 equals x. Very good. The answer is B. Just a little cookie of information here. Does anybody remember what that implied? That's right. That they're inverses of each other. That won't be on the test. Should make it a bonus, but I won't. Just because I've already made the test. Yeah, it would just be x. So no, to answer your other question, Ben, they will not all be that long. Other questions? Okay. So would somebody like me to leave this up there? Nay? Okay. All right. multiplying matrices. Who can tell me the first step of this problem? David. Yes. What are the dimensions of the first one? 1 by 3, row and then column. 1 row, 3 columns. What are the dimensions of the second? Will they multiply? Yes, the inside numbers match. What will our product be? How many 1 by 3 answers are there? Just one. So you could, but again, we're going to go ahead and work it, assuming that it won't be that, and most likely it won't be because I'm just mean. Most likely you're not going to be able to stop at this point on Monday. So we're going to go ahead and practice the multiplying one, but we know going in that the answer is C. So now what we have to do is verify it. Alright, when you multiply matrices, row times column. I'll do it on here. That way people at home can see what I'm doing. Row times column. So, first row, first column. -2 times -8. -16. -9 times +3. -27. You know, I'll kind of write these right here. -5 times -2. +10. Add those together. What do you get? -33. And sure enough, so far so good. First row, second column. -2 times -3. 6. -9 times +8. -72. Very good. -5 times +2. -2. 10. Add those together. -56. All right. Then you go first row, third column. 14. Allie, you're going to keep. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so what is that? -19, and we're happy. Now, another probability for your test on Monday will be that it won't just be a 1 by 3. It might have a second row or something. So at this point, if it had another row, you would just take that row and do it by all 3 columns as well, and those numbers would be down here. So, but nonetheless, that's how you multiply matrices. Questions? Anybody need me to leave this up there? Marching along, almost halfway done. What do I do? Oh, the directions were so long I cut them off, but they're on your paper. I'm pretty sure it's fine to indicate the limit, basically, right? What do I do? Plug it in. What do you get when you do that? Darn, 0 over 0. 0 on top isn't a problem. If you get 0 over 4, boom, answer 0. But the 0 on the bottom is a problem. So what do? Trace it. Punch it in the calculator. Hey, Braden, you were asking me how to trace. I'm going to have you trace this one for me. So punch this in with me. Whole numerator. Because we plugged in 2. 1/2 minus 1/2. And then 2 minus 2. So, whole numerator. 1 divided by, need to start up my first fraction. 1 divided by x, close, times 1 divided by 2. Oops. Alright. 2, close the whole numerator, divided by quantity x minus 2. Anybody need me to leave that on the screen real quick so that you see how to punch those in? Again, same offer as every other test. As long as you know what you're doing, I can help you with parentheses issues on your calculator or comma issues if we should have a problem like that. I don't think we do. But as long as you know what you're doing in the calculator, if you show me a calculator that says error or something, I can help you with the button. Okay, graph. Yikes. It's small, but it's okay. So what do I trace? Well, we know 2 is 0 over 0. That's right. So what did you say? Very, very good. What's it look like it's going to of all these answers? -1/4. I can pretty much go ahead and circle it at this point, but just to be extra special careful, I'll go to the other side as well. Dang it. Not that that would make a difference. And it is also -1/4. So the answer is Brian's Bakery bakes bagels beautifully. I'm a poet and I didn't even realize it. Okay. Questions? No. I'm always this way. Questions? Yes, sir. Oh, sorry. My bad. You want me to put it back up there? The calculator? Let me get this cursor out of your way. Oh, you were just having a problem with the tracing? Did you get that on your graph? 1. Yeah. 2.000 is just 2. Don't forget to put a 1 at the end. Yeah, okay. Making sure. All right. Great. What do I do now? Yes. Times pi over 180. Or if we had started with the radian, it would be 180 over pi. So, times pi over 180. What reduces? You're so smart. So that's negative 1/2 pi, which is C. Charlie's crickets created chaos charismatically. What? Like, what is he talking about? Where are they? Talking about Charlie's crickets? It's not like I talk about bad things. The murderer shot him in the face. Blood went everywhere. It has something to do with adultery? Yeah, I remember that because I said that I was like, these two numbers are married to each other, and somebody's like, well, they can always divorce. I'm like, no, adultery is wrong in math. Yeah, something like that. And I added 0. That's the worst thing we've said all year, as evidenced by that I knew exactly what you were talking about. What? Yes, that's all you did. You reduce it. Yes. Essentially, whatever you start with is what you're dividing by, and whatever you're converting to is what you multiply by. Okay. Number 7. Okay. Who can tell me what to do? Hey. I didn't pick somebody yet. Alan, tell me what to do. What is it? Excellent. Now what do I do? Well, first off, I can immediately narrow it down to what? If you forget everything else on Monday, you should at least be able to 50-50 this question, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire style, because it has to be 75 degrees by something you learned in geometry on like the 3rd day. So, if anybody guesses A or D, you're not getting bonus or any partial credit. I don't care what else you do. Yes. A or D. Because this has to be 75. Okay. And what were you saying, Allie? Probably why this class takes so long, Ashley. Yes. That is exactly what we do. Yes. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Actually, if you know it's B or C, who can give me an educated guess what the answer is right now? David. How do you know? Yes. C has to be the bigger side because it has the bigger angle. So you can always use those pieces of logic as well without ever using the calculator. No, you don't have math. That's true. Except you didn't really have to do math. You're right, except to find the angle. And then you could have just used logic. And I'm pretty sure that's the way it was in your test when we did this too. But assuming you didn't see that, which is fine, what do you have to make sure your calculator is in for you to get the correct answer? Degree mode, right. If you're using degrees, you need to be in degrees. If you're using radians, you don't have. It only matters when there's an obtuse angle. If there's no obtuse angle, it doesn't matter. But that's a good point. It's always a good habit to start with the small side, because if you had an obtuse angle, it could mislead you. Okay, so good question. First thing we're going to do is cross multiply. Then we're going to divide by sine 75. So C equals that whole fraction on clear 7. Oh, my degree mode. Nope. Dang it. 7 times sine of 65. Enter. Divided by sine of 75. 6.567. So 57. So which one's my answer? C. Bless you. There we go. Yay. And then, of course, you could do the exact same thing to find side A, in case that wasn't enough information to be able to conclude your answer. Good question. You won't need it probably, but are you a senior? Yeah. No. Yeah, you'll need it. It's a good question. Okay. You would need law of cosines if there was no possible way to set up an angle on a side pair. Like, let's say you were given these two angles. No. Anytime you're given two angles, you can use law of sine. So if you're only given one angle. That's right. Well, occasionally that's even enough to use law of sine. Like if you were given this angle only, but also this side, that's a pair. You can use it. But if you were given like this angle and these two sides, you need cosines. Also, you'll need cosines. If you were just given all three sides, you could use law of cosines to find one of the angles. So, essentially, if you can make a pair with an angle on the side, sines. Anytime you can't, cosines. Unless, of course, it's a right angle, in which case you could use trigonometry. But I'm pretty sure the directions will indicate that. Okay. Yes. Cosine A. Yep. Okay. Here we go. Ooh, these are fun. Who can tell me what to do? You could. Excellent. You're just plugging in the 4. Then what? There's something to do. That's right. You just. Okay. Then you just work your way up. That's correct. You just work your way up to the 7, and then you stop. And yeah, you can punch this in the calculator. You can punch them in individually if you want. Punch in the first one, you should get 4. Punch in the second one, you should get 5, and then 6, and then 7. Add them all up. Yay, done. Well, you could always just punch it in the calculator too. I was just being lazy. Let's see. Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. 4 factorial divided by 3 factorial. That was 4, and then I'd do the next one, I would get 5, and so on and so forth. Easiest way to do this, if you have one like this tomorrow, is just hit second enter, and just whatever, and type in the numbers. That way you don't have to type in everything again. Enter. What were you, one second, what were you asking me? Oh, yeah, you want to see that? If you wanted to do the calculator method, who can tell me how to get to sum sequence? Kim. Second stat, that's right, go all the way to the end. Sum, number 5. Second stat again, the second one over. I'm sorry, I cut you off. The sequence. Now we're just ready for the formula. X factorials divided by the quantity x minus 1. Darn, I'm going to need 2 parentheses here. Math, scroll all the way over to the right, and it is number 4. No, not yet. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Alright, comma. What comes first? X. Then what? Then. Always in with a 1. In tray. 22. Only tricky thing about that is getting all your parentheses right. Yep. Easy peasy rice and cheesy. Questions? I like rice and cheesy. Yeah, 4 is where you start, 7 is where you stop. Right above the 7. It went away. No! Guess what? Only 2 more. And we still have 53 minutes. 53 minutes. Yes. Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. Nobody can leave the room today. That's actually. Number 9. Number 9. There are 2 ways to do this problem. 3 actually. What's the easiest way? David, thank you for raising your hand. Plug the dang things in. If you plug in the answers, whichever one, now it has to appease all 3 equations, but only one of them is going to do it.
No.
I don't think that's a popular decision. Oh, but assuming you were having problems with your addition, yeah, you would do elimination method. Who wants to help me? What's the easiest variable to get rid of here? The y's, because one of them is already bloody negative. So, Kelsey, what do I do? What? That's already what we have here. Oh, well, you know what? That's not what we're doing right now. What were you saying? Go. Whatever you want. You just tell me what to do. 2x. But you can't just get rid of the y's. You have to add these to get rid of the y's. Yeah. She added row 1 plus row 2. Oh, that's. I guess that's okay. What? Oh, she's not plugging in anything. She added the top 2 rows to get this. And now I assume you want to add the bottom 2 rows? Yes. So that'll be 6x plus 3z equals 24. That's right. So that'll make that negative 2x minus 3z equals negative 12. So 4x equals 12. X equals 3, which is already enough to say that the answer is A. But even if it wasn't, you could come back up here and plug it in right here. So that'd be 18 plus 3z equals 24. Subtract. Divide. X equal what? That's not right. Why did it all go wrong? Oh, Z. I was looking at Y. Okay, so Z is 2. Then you plug both of those in anywhere is up here, and you should get that Y is negative 2. Okay, we first added these 2 equations to get this. Then we added the bottom 2 so that those Y's would cancel, and that's where 6x, 3z, and 24 came from. I didn't write that step out. Okay. Questions. I haven't looked at the last one. I'm going to go with no, though. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Here we go. Oh, it's not like I studied this thing. That's your job. Yours. Number 10. No, you don't. Well, you have to do Pythagorean theorem. No, you don't. Actually, the hypotenuse is the longest side, so it can't be 3. It's cotangent. Okay. Okay. You're right. You're correct. Okay. Use the Pythagorean theorem to find the side length of the missing side. Okay. Let's do that first. Thank you. That's that, technically. Nah, whatever. Okay, Pythagorean theorem. I guess you guys know how to use that by now. Okay. Then, use trig to find the given trig function of the given angle. You do not have to use your calculator for this part. If you do use your calculator during this problem on the test, you're doing it wrong. So, from theta, I need cotangent. Cotangent is the flip of what? Tangent. And tangent is what? Opposite over adjacent, which flipped would be adjacent over opposite. So, adjacent over opposite, 5 folds. Boy, C was like the answer to half of them. Yes. Although, I'll tell you now, I'm probably not going to ask you about tangent or cotangent on the test because I'm going to want you to do the Pythagorean theorem. So you need to know how to find sine, cosine, cosecant, and secant. Sure. All right. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So if that had been this one, that would have been 4 over radical 41 rationalized, which would have been B. 4. It depends on where your angle is. Oh, cosecant. The flip of sine is cosecant. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Because it was cotangent, which is the flip of tangent. No, it says cosine. And then what's the flip of cosine? Secant. That's right. Cosecant. CSC. And SEC, secant, is the flip of cosine. Flip of cosine, yes. Hypotenuse over adjacent. Cosecant. Opposite. It's hypotenuse over opposite. What? Alright, here's the thing to remember. The cos don't go together. So you have sine and cosine, and you have secant and cosecant. The cos don't go with one another.
That's right.
Of course, the easier way to remember that is just remember hold on. Well, whose fault is that?
Number 1 and 5. What is tangent again? Opposite over Z?
Okay. I'm definitely getting